We fall down, but we get up. We fall down, but we get up. We fall down, but we get up again. Oh, glory. For a saint is just a sinner who fell down. But he didn't stay there and got up. Sing it, sing it. We fall down. Hey, glory. Donnie McClurkin. I don't see anybody in here. Are you guys here, or is my computer tripping? We'll give it another verse. No. Stand. No, what is other Donnie McClurkin song? Well, he had a lot. He sang everything. He fell down and can't get up. Child, got to talk about Donnie McClurkin again. It's been years. I've been bothered with the Donnie McClurkin story since the Obama team told him that he was not welcome to perform in Detroit because of his controversial views. The whole world sees the controversy, but he refused. And now Donnie McClurkin is an old man. Shout out to old men. I'm 63. I think I can speak on that. Hey, Lincoln Jude. Get up in that ass. Lord have mercy. This man, okay, so Donnie McClurkin, they released this clip now. Donnie McClurkin is coming back to the congregation, and he's saying now that he don't know how to do this relationship thing. He said that more than likely he'll always be alone. He'll never find the love of his life. He wanted a family. He wanted to lay in the arms of a woman. He wanted to do what he wanted to do. What Donnie McClurkin has still failed to realize is you tried to change nature and you couldn't do it because God is nature. You get that, boy? God is nature. And you want to read that book and come up with the idea that no, this is what God said back in 6,000 years ago to in the desert. God said, who said it? He's so caught up in that book and religion that this man has lived out his whole life now. And now he's in his reclining years. And he is still up here whining about his love life. Donnie McClurkin, the reason why you haven't been able to find love after searching for it for all these years is because you can't change your nature. That's it, dude. You are trying to pretend to be something and will yourself into being something that you simply are not. So either you are going to worship the book or you're going to worship God. God is nature. God said, thou shalt be this. Oh, no. But the Bible said, you want to listen to the Bible? You want to listen to God? God told you who you are. And you've resisted and resisted and resisted and resisted. And now what you got? You can't lay down in a bed with a woman and start a family, Donnie McClurkin, because you're not heterosexual. I don't give a goddamn if you never have sex again. I haven't had sex in years and years and years. It doesn't change the fact of my nature. I'm still a homosexual, honey. It doesn't matter if you have sex or not. Donnie McClurkin. And now in your 60s, you still cannot come out here and try to tell the truth. Maybe this is the closest you came when you said that more than likely I will always be alone. I would agree with you, brother. If you are so deranged in your mind that you have went all this time, 61 years, without ever finding one soul you can connect with. He said he has had no long-term relationship in his whole life. If you haven't done it by now, if you don't know me by now, it ain't likely you'll ever know yourself, boy. Right? So maybe it won't happen. Yeah, I haven't had sex in a long time. I'm still homosexual. But the point is, I did know love as a young person. And I still think about that person who I loved to this day, every single day. So, and as Shakespeare said, and I believe it was Shakespeare, better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all. Because I would tend to agree with you. you probably are going to be alone for the rest of your damn life. And you still be spilling the same old rhetoric which got nothing to do with reality. Having sex does not make you a homosexual, honey. Your attraction makes you a homosexual. Now, you have got all of this stuff you've been telling us for years, that you are homosexual because somebody molested you. You believe that to be true. And you believe also that the influence of pornography has made you a homosexual. Do you know how much pornography is out here in this world, man? Do you know that every time you click on pornography, you're exposed to heterosexual, homosexual pornography? You didn't go, I mean, you had the option of going to all heterosexual pornography, right? But that wasn't going to make you straight. Why did you keep going over to the homosexual pornography? Because it is your attraction. It is what arouses you. That is your homosexuality, honey. It is your attraction. It's got nothing to do with the actual physical part of having sex. I knew I was homosexual at 8 years old. I didn't have sex till I was damn near 20 years old, right? So they're not the same thing. Your orientation is not the same thing as you having sex. So you have denied yourself and denied yourself and denied yourself. And now here you are, an old man, talking about, oh, I give up. What, girl, you should have given up a long time ago. When you came out with that weak ass story 3 years ago about this Mullen woman, I could have told you right. I think I did make 2 or 3 videos right then. I said, girl, you that don't make you straight because you went to the Stellar Awards with a woman. Oh, I've been dating. Oh, we're just dating. Girl, it sounded weak even when you came up with it. That was a girlfriend of yours. You called up. You said, I need somebody to go to Stellar with me. That was the relationship. Then you went on with this whole fantasy. Oh, we're dating now. We're seeking counseling. Oh, I got to have a certain amount of hours of counsel. You're not going to counsel your way into being heterosexual, Donnie McClurkin. So you have wasted your entire sex life. You don't even have a memory to hold on to. More than likely, you had a bunch of one-night stands where after the person left, you sat in your bedroom and cried yourself to sleep because of the sin, because of the guilt. Donnie McClurkin, some of that money you've been making, you should have been spending that on therapy. You should have started at a very early age. You should have figured this out by now, right? God is nature. God is nature. This is the only thing that is sure. There are not many things in life we can be sure of except rain from the sky. Sun lights up the sky and hummingbirds, well, they do fly. Nature. You have resisted nature for your entire life based on an ancient book you read. You've been a foolish man. Now you have reaped the harvest of that. Because according to what he says he's never been in a long-term relationship. He said he'd be alone for the rest of his life. He said he wanted to lay down with someone to share his life with forever. You're trying to lay down with the wrong person, Donnie McClurkin. And you have made this whole big thing out of your sexuality, which we really didn't even have to know about your sexuality because the gospel music industry is just, I mean, it is in a huge part of the gospel music industry. You know, I know, and a whole lot of other people know are homosexual people, right? But you have to make this whole campaign all public. You got to stand by. You got to stand your ground. Stand your ground. And now here you are in your 60s, never even been in love with anybody. You don't have the capacity to love a woman because you're a homosexual, right? Now there are people with a little stronger mind capacity than yours. Some people are, I don't even believe you're bisexual. I think you're just a homosexual. You're a frustrated homosexual. I believe it was a horrible thing that happened to you, that you were molested. But I don't think you being molested is what made you a homosexual. I don't believe it. I was molested. I was already dreaming about boys 10 years before I got molested. Not 10. Let me not lie. You see, I got molested at 11. So I was just as curious with the goddamn abuser. I had been curious about it, right? Now, we ain't saying there's nothing right or good about nobody being molested by a grown-ass man as a child. But what I'm saying is that molestation did not make me a homosexual. I was already a homosexual, even though I would have been naturally years away from having sex. But that's your belief. It's always got to be blamed on something else. You said you watched porn and you became a homosexual. So no doubt, we don't know how much you were touched or whatever. That made you a homosexual. Everything is something else, some external thing has made you a homosexual. Everything except for the obvious, which is nature. It is nature. You take two brothers raised in the exact same house, same mother, same father, same sisters, same brothers, same school, same house. One is homosexual, one is heterosexual. Why? Because it is their nature. You should have figured it out, but all this time you've wasted rejecting God's creation. Look what you get. Is that what God's plan was for you? Didn't the Bible say that God did not intend man to be alone? And what are you? Hey, people, good morning. Good morning. The way the church is, I think the future is going to be a lot less religious, honey. I think religion, I mean, it's just done so much damage, and then people are becoming more and more sophisticated on these subjects. And they start realizing, you know what, these people have been lying to me all this time. Why am I even bothered with this shit? If this part ain't true, what makes me think all the rest of it is true? Right? But this is a boy. I don't think Donnie McClurkin is all that wrapped all that tight, because even though he says he's a pastor and all that, when Crouch, what's his name? The Crouch, I forget his name, first name. Is it Andrew Crouch? No, Andre Crouch. At his funeral, Donnie McClurkin was supposed to speak at the funeral, right? He got up on the stage and started talking about his childhood. And this is at that man's funeral now. And the other guy, what was the big Winans brother? He had to come up on the stage and talk him off the stage. No, it's not time for that, bro. He said, y'all want to say one more thing? No, it's not time for that, Donnie. And then he had to pull him off the stage. This was my first clue. Okay, he's not really, he doesn't really have the mental capacity to grow his way out of this situation, right? There's something wrong with Donnie McClurkin. He's damaged goods. But a lot of people got molested, honey. A lot of people got touched, as y'all say. One touch, you're a homosexual now. It's not, that doesn't create an obsession that lasts a lifetime, honey. Okay. So, and here you are, Donnie McClurkin. You failed. You failed. I'm not saying you certainly you didn't fail at your career, and we all know that life is more than sex. I mean, particularly at 62 you are, life is more than sex. We all understand that. So you have maybe had successes in your career. We absolutely know that. Maybe you've had successes, or what you consider successes in your church. I don't know if you have successes in your relationships or not. I mean, we know that you have not in your romantic relationships, but I don't know about, I think you have adopted kids or something like that. I don't know how those relationships have survived. But as far as your love life, you have failed. And your sexual identity, you have failed. Absolutely. You have attempted to change God's plan for you. That ain't God's plan. Why isn't it God's plan? Because of the book. God said yes, because God created you. Right? And millions and millions and millions of other people that happen to be homosexual. Well, God kept making the same mistake over and over again. Didn't God get it? There are homosexuals and heterosexuals in the earth. And yet many countries are faced with population explosions. They have the limit in China, some parts of China, they have the limit how many kids you can have. But you think that because what you read in the Bible, everybody's supposed to be here just making babies and babies and babies and babies. Then we have this phenomenon of baby mamas and baby daddies, and they don't even get married no more. It's just babies, 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 babies. And you want to just add to that by taking those millions of people who are homosexual. You want them to have babies and babies and babies. Girl, let God be God, and you be Donnie McClurkin. You think The God had not already thought these things out to balance the balance of the earth. How much would be water? How much would be land? Which animals would devour other animals? Which animals would be meat eaters in order for the whole damn thing to work? This whole nature to work. You think that was just something that he missed? It is in nature, Donnie McClurkin, and you have failed, my brother. How y'all doing today? Child, you just stand. Well, he got a great voice. I mean, even when I was hating on him most of my adult life, I've been hating on him. I just hate what he is and what he represents. I was still listening to his music sometimes. I would never buy or purchase his music, but I liked a lot of his music. That's different than this other shit. This organization he was involved in, the ex-gays and all that shit. Didn't they fall in love with each other and disband the goddamn ex-gays? Isn't he standing alone now? He experienced a man stands alone. Because most of the organization that he was involved in, the people done went back to being gay because they always were gay. They just accepted the truth. Maybe I don't have to go to a sex party, but that doesn't change the fact that I'm homosexual. My attraction is still homosexual. It is my nature. They came to that conclusion. He held on. So that whole Mullins thing, dragging that woman through all that shit 3 years ago, I laughed at that, McClurkin. I'm telling you, I literally sat up here and laughed about it. Oh, I'm dating. I'm going to take her to the Stellar Awards. That was our first date. He was in his 50s then. You having your first date, your fifth girl gone. All right. I can't wait to hear what I think that would be a sad, sad funeral. To sit up there going to your grave and you have stuck with these same stupid ass ideas and you done made through your whole goddamn life. You ain't never had no relationship. You got full grown children without no relationship at all in your life. You ain't got a memory to hold on to. You ain't got shit. You resisted and resisted. And he's probably one of those kinds that had where all the years he was having sex before he came up with this whole thing in the 90s. All those years he was having sex, he probably hated himself. Maybe he did like the Catholics do with chastisement, where you whip yourself after you have sex. Whip yourself because you're sin, all of foolishness. It's a product of religion. But you would think that you would have the balls, McClurkin. Since your voice is not what it was, you're not releasing music like you were. Who gives a damn what these people think? Who are these people? Do they come to your house for dinner at night? What do you care about what these people think, honey? Oh, the church think what? Girl, what do you mean? Why would you care about that? If you're not dependent on people, not even for your income now, I can assume that you made some kind of investment. You got some kind of something you can hold on to where you're not dependent on these people. You need their approval from the church so you can keep on performing. Can we assume? Because that's going to be the next thing to go. You see, you've seen these people come out of the closet in all these various industries, right? Now they're even starting in politics, but all of the news, before a few years ago, you would never hear of a gay newscaster, right? Now we're finding out that damn near half of them are gay. All these various industries where people come out slowly, television networks come out. They had the Logo TV, right? Did a few years later to realize, well, we don't need Logo TV because we got so much in all media, all forms of media. They even got rappers, Lil Nas come out. They got rappers coming out. They got singers coming out, and all these people coming out, right? But the very last one to go is going to be this gospel music industry, because the gospel music industry, I have to choose my words carefully. I don't want to say infested, nothing like that. I just want to say there are a whole lot of people in gospel music who are homosexual. You know it. Now, I don't know if your right side of your brain or your left side of your brain can ignore it, but you in that industry, you would have to know it. Just from the connections you made here in the Bay Area, I know you got to know it, McClurkin. But they're going to have to come too, honey. The whole world got to change. God designed us to be progressive, to be smarter, to learn about things. We can put people on the moons and so forth. We can have things flying all through the air. And we can do all this kind of stuff. We can't all just stay stuck up in what the Bible said. But Jeremiah said. But who is Jeremiah exactly? Do you know him? You accepting everything that come out of his mouth? That God said that? What do you mean? The Bible don't say that God said it. It said Jeremiah said it. All the writers of the Bible, 40-something writers in the Bible. I mean, weren't those people? You'd have made, oh no, they weren't real people. Oh, God took their hand, the divine inspiration, and put it down on the paper. And he started writing it down. Girl. When T.D. Jakes talks, gives a good sermon, people are inspired. People get happy. People get. Wasn't that inspired by God then? What you would consider, that was an inspired sermon. That was, I got a word from there, right? Does that mean that God came down and took T.D. Jakes' hand and wrote out the sermon? No, girl. It's just people. Anyway, what a way to wake up. Makila Solomon. You got a real religious name. I can't wait to hear what you got to say. Well, Lord, we went back and forth with Donnie McClurkin saga. I made some videos about him when he was tormenting that woman, McCullum, or tricked her into saying that she was involved with him romantically and all that. And they were getting counseling and all that, girl. And so he says he still ain't laid down nobody. He said, I've been with men and women. I guess that's progress. At least he can say it out his mouth. Probably you ain't been with no, you fronted with being with women, and then you were with men. You were making the animal sounds with men, honey. That's where your pleasure lied, was with men. You could be with a woman because you were trying to figure out how you could change from being a homosexual to a heterosexual. But how sincere was that, Donnie McClurkin? Where you were going out on dates, and then she said, "Oh, you want me to come back to your apartment?" And all, you said, "No, not tonight, not tonight." Oh, yeah. Oh, we're gonna get around to. Oh, why are you so pushy? Why are you so aggressive? I want to be the one that's aggressive, girl. You had no desire to go with the woman because you're not attracted to her. It's not in your nature, Donnie McClurkin. You could have maybe made some differences in the world. Look at this little kid, Lil Nas. I mean, no matter what I hated that last video he did, but no matter what we think, this is a person who's bold enough to come out and be himself. He will help people and he will help society because he's made that move. He don't know what he's doing. I mean, he's playing it by ear, but at least he's man enough to step up and say, this is who I am, honey. Right? So the world continues to get better because of troopers like this kid. I don't like all that devil shit, but I respect that brother for at his age to take his power and to use it for truth. Worship God and in spirit and in truth. I don't think it's worship God in lies and deceit. Donnie McClurkin has not accomplished anything by not having sex in his 60s. A whole lot of us, honey, y'all can testify yourself. Whole lot of us are not having sex no more. So really it's a non-issue. We don't have sex no more, honey. So yes, it's going to go away, Donnie McClurkin. You blew it. You blew it. You spent your whole youth when you're supposed to be having sex, having love, falling in love and all this kind of shit. You blew it. You missed it all. Trying to pretend and fake it. So now to say, oh, I don't have no sex. See, I changed my way. I changed. I was delivered from homosexual. I was delivered from it. You were delivered from shit. You got old and your shit just not that interested anymore. Now, we don't know what you do in your personal life because we know that these religious people are all liars. We know that. You have to be a liar in order to function in these spaces where you choose to function. You got to keep the women happy. You got to get them thinking that, oh, he's heterosexual. He's one of us. Girl, like you're going to have sex with them. Or you felt like you had to do that. You could have made a difference, man. You had a huge platform and you fucked it up. You wasted your platform. You have accomplished nothing in the earth, honey. All your little organizations, they didn't all went back to fucking and sucking. Unless they're too damn old, they're not interested no more. Hey, you guys. Hey, RJ Supreme. Thank you for Cash App. I got that. I appreciate you. Okay. Hey, he gay and now he old and the gay community don't want him. So who did you impress? Donnie McClurkin. They still calling him Miss Donnie behind his back, child. These people want to still hold on to these stupid ass old ideas. I mean, God loved the older people. I mean, I love my grandparents and all that kind of stuff. But at some point, they're just going to go on. They're going to be gone, and we shouldn't be trying to hold on to what they believe from back in the 30s and the 40s. We're still trying to hold on to it. We're not even a part of this world. He created his own misery. Yeah. All that money. What did Mahogany tell? You remember what Billy D. Williams told Mahogany? When Mahogany, she was this big fashion designer, right? I forget her name, Tracy or something. And she wanted to be this big fashion designer. She wanted to go off to Europe. And she had some successes, right? But he was in love with her. But she was more in love with her career than with him. And he told her this. This is the line I remember from the movie. Success is nothing without someone to share it with. It don't mean nothing, girl. You sitting there in all your gold and all your riches and all your designer shoes, and nobody even sees it, girl. You blew it. Success is nothing without someone to share it with. So what he is realizing is, I missed the main thing. I missed love. This thing that comes from God, love. Just like I suspect hate comes from that other. You miss love. So you can get all your riches, all your stuff. And let's face it, baby, we don't know how much is still coming in. He got to go all the way to Africa to give a decent concert. So we don't know how much money. So if you have banked your whole life, I mean, how many shoes and cars and apartments can you buy? I mean, eventually that's not exciting anymore. And you're realizing that what I needed was human companionship. The one thing I have not been able to conquer. Why? Because of this foolish idea that you could change nature. Change it. You could change an apple tree to an orange tree. You just delivered the orange tree, huh? You could change a dog to being a cat. You can turn water into wine. Because you read it in the book. It's natural, baby. It's natural. I mean, I don't want to go into that stupid ass conversation that this fire monster was having with her brother about. He said you're not born gay. When does the gay take place? Is it injected into you at some point? Why are some people raised in the same house? My grandmother had 6 boys. They are all heterosexuals. All the cousins, they were heterosexuals. So where the hell I come from? It was always me. It was never a change from I'm this way, now I'm this way. No, honey. That's who I am. It was my nature. And you will realize what your nature is at the same time the little girl is discovering the boys for the first time. He likes me. Oh. Or the little boys are starting to notice the girl's leg. Oh, she so fine. Look at she fine. 9 years old. Oh, she so fine. Look when they start the line. At that very same time, the gay person is noticing, damn, he is fine. It is his nature. At some point, he has to come to realize his own nature. He don't know better. He don't realize his nature at 2 years old. He don't come out the room knowing I'm coming out all knowing. That ain't the way it is, baby. You come to realize who you are. What is your nature? So they call that puberty? Is that what it's called? Puberty, where you start noticing the opposite sex and sometimes the same sex. Maybe we shouldn't be teaching people that at a certain age, you come to puberty, you start noticing girls. Maybe you said you come into yourself. You start noticing people. All right. Center focus, why did you get erased? What happened? Love the DAC, the DAC, but I still find girl on girl porn. I turn on. All right. Oh, you went controversial on the ass. Okay. I deleted my other comments because there was a mistake. Oh, okay. I understand. Yeah, they, the majority of gay porn, that's male on male porn, is written by females. Did you know that? I was fascinated to learn that. I don't like reading about sex, but still, women write a lot of gay porn. And yes, I myself, if I ever look at that kind of thing, I'm not admitting anything. I still like a lot of heterosexual porn. That don't change me from being a heterosexual, right? I mean, it don't change me from being a homosexual. Stimulates the eyeballs. When you remove religion from the things, then maybe we'll realize that sex is not so rigid as we make it out to be. We're trying to program people. But I don't think it has much effect on people, because people are not going to just stop being what they are and be what you tell them to be, at least as far as their sexuality. They may choose to go and hide or deny themselves. You can deny yourself. McClurkin has probably denied himself a lot. I mean, I get the impression that he was pretty promiscuous before he came up with this ex-gay shit in the 90s, right? Well, that's when you're the most sexual anyway. So you're gonna fuck off your 20s and your 30s, and now you're ready to be ex-gay. Therapy is not going to help him. At 61, if it's not his aim to be reprogramming and undoing the religious teaching he has been hearing all his life. Well, therapy ain't gonna do nothing about their sex life, honey. That's pretty much toast, unless he used some Viagra or something. Shit probably don't even work no more. He got so much. I mean, he's got it so much now that everybody has got their eye on him for most of his adult life. So he got to really be real sneaky. I guess he got to wear disguises, maybe wear a toupee and go down to the bookstore and all this kind of shit just to have sex. So it probably got to be too complicated to try to hide. Let me see. I nappy child. Nappy child. Thank you for posting that, nappy child. Yes, Monsaro Tyler surely is in the closet, and it reflects all in his writing. Who is Amansaro? Is that Tyler Perry's name? Are you saying Tyler Perry? Yes, Amansaro. Okay, so I guess you're talking about Tyler. People can do whatever they want to do, honey. I don't know how much he's in the closet. According to Walter Lee Hampton, he was never all that far into the closet, right? He was pretty well known around. But does he actually deny that he's homosexual now? Tyler Perry? I know he never come out. But does he make a point to actually deny it and say that he's heterosexual? Isn't he another one who has children without the woman? I don't know what Tyler Perry's tea is. My guess is yes, he's gay, or he's homosexual, or at least bisexual. He has enough money now to do whatever the fuck he wants to do, I guess. You know, but loose lips sink ships. Eventually, our story will come out, make it plain. He was furious when that damn when that cartoon came out. Remember that Boondocks cartoon? But we didn't come here to hate on Tyler today. Right? We ain't come here to talk about the hate on Tyler. We're hating on Donnie McClurkin. We ain't even hating on him. I hope we go out there and try to meet somebody and try to maybe have a relationship with somebody before they put him in the grave. And you don't sit up here and wasted your whole goddamn life. As far as your physical life, your sex life, you've wasted with these stupid ideas of yours, which nobody basically believes anymore, honey. You got a bunch of old ladies in the church, you know, knots behind the stockings. Yes, yes. He changed. I wonder how long it goes when I told my story. I'm going to tell it again. When I was released from prison, I had been missing for 17 years. I contacted my grandmother, right? So I was going home for this big visit to Indiana. I hadn't been back to Indiana in 17 years, right? So I go down there. I go to my mother's house. I have relatives coming over wherever I touch down, whoever houses I'm at, they all come over there, right, to greet me. I'm the prodigal son. At least I ain't on dope. Anyway, it's snowing at the time. This is the winter time. I'm at my mother's house. My grandmother comes over, and she's so happy to see me. My grandmother was my biggest fan. She really loved me, and I loved her back. I loved her right back. But I hadn't seen her in years, and I had chosen to break communication with her. She said, baby, after our long hugs and kisses and everything, she said, baby, I got something for you, right? Now, I'm thinking, I was just getting started again. I thought maybe grandma got a check in here, and she doesn't want the other relatives, because the house was full of people. She don't want the other relatives to see her giving me this money, right? So I don't know what, but it's in her car. She gave me her car keys, and I go out to her car. She said, I got something special for you, right? And on her driver's seat, she said, it's sitting on the driver's seat. I get out there, and it's Donnie McClurkin book. Let's see what she wrote in it. Let's see what she wrote in it. Let me see. Oh, baby. Okay. See how God works. I forgot all about this damn book. This is the one gift I have here from my grandmama. Let's see what she wrote. This is internal. This is Donnie McClurkin book, right? Eternal victim. Eternal victor. Right? But this book is so outrageous. I mean, he goes on about the vipers and the parasites in the church. Everybody wants this little booty hole. Oh, she didn't write that. I wrote that. It says private property of Timothy Blaine. Why would I write that in there for? Or maybe I was living in the drug program. Let's see if grandma wrote anything in there. Child, I still got the bookmarks in there. This is as far as I can make it. 42 pages. When he started talking about these vipers, everybody in the church want to fuck his little ass. Let him tell it and turn him into a homosexual, like a whole cult of them. So aren't these the same people you're supposed to be worshiping? That's the church, right? Anyway, I couldn't get through that thing. He is a damaged person. I don't know if molested. I don't know to what extent he was. I mean, people say I was molested. That can go anywhere from somebody touched me in my arm in a sexual way, I rubbed my arm. They can go all the way to full on sex or sex that goes on and on and on. I imagine if it's an actual relationship where somebody's continually molesting you, that you might have a lot more issues to deal with in your later life. We don't know to what extent it happened to him, but he feels like this is what made him gay. It turned him to a homosexual. Never mind that. How about if you are a gay person? Can a gay person be molested just like a straight person can be molested? I mean, you're too young to know. You're too young. That's why you don't go fucking with people's young minds. This boy has gotten confused and stayed confused for the rest of his life. Because if he had been allowed to discover himself naturally, then maybe it wouldn't be such a struggle for him to know the roots of his homosexuality. As far as he knows, I didn't think about sex with guys until I was actually having sex with guys, which he shouldn't have been having sex with no guy, particularly not with a grown-ass man. Right? So he blamed all the homosexuals after that, right? Instead of blaming the uncle who did this to him, he should have been arrested and put in jail. But oh no, the uncle could stay out of jail, but we had to suffer. So fortunately, Donnie McClurkin is too old. People ain't paying attention no more. So he only has a certain amount of influence. I guess somebody went in there and recorded him saying all this shit about his relationships and stuff like that. Girl, I agree, Donnie. Too much, too little, too late. to ever be. April. That's understandable. It was just asking, did he say anything else besides he'll be alone forever because he doesn't know what a woman wants? 62, you still don't know what a woman wants? Why are you trying to force something, girl? If it don't fit, don't force it. Just relax and let it flow. Because that's the way you want it, don't mean it will be so. If it don't fit, it's a damn shame. We got to take secular music and get these heavy spiritual principles. If it don't fit, Donnie McClurkin, don't force it. You're not going to make yourself be attracted to a woman. You can stop having sex, which is maybe what you did. You can be celibate. You can do all those kind of things. You can deny yourself if you want to until you're too damn old to do anything. You can do whatever you want to do, honey, but you're not going to change your nature because that's what God intended for you. That's who you are. There's more to being gay than just having sex. Am I gay? Do I appear to be gay to you? That's who I am, honey. It ain't got to do with me having sex. I don't have sex. Doesn't mean it will be so. If it don't fit, don't force it. You shouldn't have to force it, baby. She takes off a thing, you know. You take off a thing. Ooh. And it's just natural. It just happens, honey. Put a man and woman there, they're attracted to each other, you know. Close the door. Then you can't be saying, oh, no, maybe not tonight. You got to be gentle. They say, what? Don't you want no pussy? Don't you want none of all this? Baby, I don't want shit. I wanted this talk. He's probably a very difficult person to deal with anyway. When they've had, you know, success creates certain things in people, you know, so he probably used to having things his own damn way. So, and if he's faking, he's not really attracted to her any damn way. It's probably difficult for a woman to even step in there and just have kids with him, you know. Some will do that. They'll say, oh, I like you, you like me. We both want a family kind of thing. But he couldn't even do that right. He's probably got too many quirks in his personality. I mean, that guy, what his name was, he had to go in there and take him off the stage at somebody else's funeral. So Donnie McClurkin want to tell you about when he started. When I was a young boy, it wasn't always good. Internal victim. Renee, yeah, he was with him for years before they finally got married. What was that? Oh, y'all talking about something else? Okay. I know what they want. They just ain't offering. The boys know what you want, Donnie McClurkin. Even though you probably sit up there with your legs spread crying. They know what you want, honey. I hope the boy at least have to, when he's out of town traveling, at least has enough sense to go out there and get him something every once in a while. So he's not spending his whole goddamn life living a lie. You have at least known erotic pleasure at some point in your damn life. She was a drug. Y'all got a whole conversation going. What the hell is going on here? Let me see. She was, okay. Okay, El Donnie can't claim gay while being deeply in the. You can go to my church and be gay. My church, we gay. Now, at our church, though, they don't. Our pastors and our leadership, they don't like you saying that it's a gay church, right? Even though most of the people there are gay, because the lesbian women, they're still women, so they still have kids, and pretty much all the time, the kids are not gay. I mean, every once in a while, somebody might be, but the kids are not gay. The family members who are attending the church that their child attends, they're not gay. Some of the seniors, they have family there, they're not gay. So there are people who are not gay who attend our church. So you can't just say it's a gay church, because all are welcome, which is the way it should be. There shouldn't be an official title, this is a gay church, right? But there are various places you can go to worship, honey, and many places who do not make that an issue. There's all kind of ways to be. Yep. As far as I know, all we ever disagreed with my grandma Renee was the gay issue. But I mean, it's not like something we sat around and talked about. And then I was missing for those 17 years. But she was the biggest fan of the Meth Monster. She really enjoyed that, honey. I want to talk about that delivery, boy. Tell me about that delivery. When you know that you know that you know that you know. Do you right? I agree, Tyler. Have some handsome men. Walter Hampton, he made one of his most popular videos was saying that Walter was his girlfriend, and they finger popped and everything until he started becoming famous. Baby. You be quiet. So Tyler Perry, he chose. I don't know why anybody would give a damn if Tyler Perry was gay or not, because he's not even in the. Well, I guess he is hooked up with church. He's still a spiritual person. He gives millions of dollars to the church organization, so maybe he has some of that on him. But considering his kind of humor, I don't know why anybody. It's not like they want to have sex with him. They just enjoy his work. So he could come out very easily if he chose to. I mean, you're walking around in a dress for the last 20 years. Whatever. I don't know it would be that big a leap. Donnie said he was actually raped, penetrated, unless I was mistaken. That could very well have happened, and it's a tragedy. It's a crime. It's a horrible thing. But I still, even in that extreme, I don't know that would make you want to be fucked for the rest of your life. Right? Even when a guy is molested in jail or made to do things that he wouldn't ordinarily do, when he gets out of jail, he's still himself. He didn't change his whole self because he had a sexual encounter with somebody, right? These hustlers, they go out and sell their dicks. Excuse my being so graphic. Go out and sell their bodies. A lot of them are heterosexual people. They even had them on Oprah, and they had them on other girl. When they were interviewing them on these talk shows and stuff, and they just gay for pay, right? It doesn't affect their sexuality at all. Because when they seek pleasure for themselves, they seek it with women. The other thing is just a business proposition. People are all kinds of ways. I mean, probably technically, you would probably consider them to be bisexual because they are at least able to become aroused by men enough to, to perform. But I was involved. I don't talk about the other person I was involved with. I talk about my lover because that's the only time I was really in love with somebody. But I was involved with a guy for 8 years when we were getting high. I mean, in and out of prison, so we weren't together constantly. 8 years we were together. And he was basically a straight guy. Or at least that's the way I saw him. And that's the way he saw himself. But we still had sex all the time. And then when we both got clean, he went back to women and I went back to men. Right? All this time I've been in San Francisco. I've been here, 23 years, I think. How long have I been in San Francisco? Okay, I've been clean for 20. I've been in San Francisco almost 30 years. 30 years, right? The whole time that I was using dope, I never came to Castro. Castro was for gay people. So I didn't even see it that way. It was a whole separate world. I was not in denial about my sexuality, but I didn't participate in the gay lifestyle. And he never would. He would never go into a gay bar or anything like that. Although he was perfectly willing to have sex. So I would just say he would be on the low end of bisexuality. But I was crazy about him. Only problem was he wasn't really a homosexual. So he liked me. We liked each other. We did good business together and so forth. But he was never going to feel about me the way I felt about him. And the proof was in the pudding, because as soon as he got off dope, He went right back to a woman. Now he got a son. He's got a wife. I've become totally gay, although I ain't getting none. Shang. What's the mother Donnie McClurkin song? I remember that one though. That theology and that was always kind of strange too. A saint is just a sinner. Hold on a minute. Hold on 1 minute. We're gonna get us what they call a reminder. Don't worry, I ain't gonna sing it. I'm just gonna talk about it. Donnie McClurkin. Stand, we fall down. Great is your mercy for me. Your loving kindness for me. Then he got a Caribbean melody. He got Speak to My Heart. He got I Need You. I need you. Oh, I need thee. Every. I think that's it. Holy. He got Holy. Holy, holy. Live in concert. Let me see. That's what I believe. Hear the song. I call you faithful. Your name. Okay. I call you holy. Your name is holy. Holy and holy you are. I'll trust you, Lord. There's a few of the McClurkin favorites. I don't think his voice is what it used to be. Apparently, he had a cancer struggle a couple years ago. So I don't know. I think it was on. They had things on his vocal cords, right? Like the girl with Mary. Anyway, apparently he's well again. He does a lot of preaching. But I don't know how much singing he's doing. Not hitting those notes like he was before, you know. So maybe you need to find you a nice elderly gentleman, or Donnie McClurkin, and just settle down, you know, cook, watch some TV, relax. You don't got to prove anything to anybody else. You've done your time. Now this is our turn. Retire. Forget about it. You don't want to talk to religious people? Don't answer your phone. Unplug it. It's hard when you get to be old, though, try to have a relationship with male or female. It is. You're two set in your own ways, honey. It's hard to take on another person. It's just different. Life changes you. So, you know, we know lots of people who are 61. That's young if you already in a relationship. But to try to start a relationship at 63, I mean, I guess men can go further. Usually, a lot of these men, they have two times. They have their family, young family, and then when they get to be old and have a midlife crisis, they'll get with a younger person and start another family. So sometimes they'll have two separate groups of family, you know, 15, 20 years apart. Anyway, where did I get off on that? I don't know. Social Security, okay. Goonies, never say die. Social Security beneficiaries, $1,400 stimuluses are expected to be, you got projected to be, or expected to be, sent electronically and received on April the 7th. Oh no, another week? Okay, thank you. My birthday is on the 6th, people. If you feel so inclined. Excuse me. They'll take, ooh, y'all see that? You know, look at he begging. He begging. I told you he's begging. I caught him. Girl. I was born on Easter Sunday, 1958. Praise Jesus. Mm-hmm. My heart hurts for Donnie. I feel the trauma. Girl, he ain't got no trauma 60 years later, do he? I mean, come on, people. You had sex prematurely. A lot of people have, honey. God damn. You got all that money you can't afford to go and get you a therapist and work this shit out by now? I would suspect that he's got a lot of other issues too. He doesn't talk like a regular human being. Y'all hear that lady with the guy who was the one cheating on her husband last week? What was the guy's name? Jackson. Spelled Jackson. His wife, She couldn't even put a sentence together. Everything was a scripture. I saw her interview. I said, God dang it, man. That woman could not put a sentence together without saying scripture. No, y'all putting way too much on it, honey. Scar being raped, stay. Yeah, I imagine stay with you a long time, lovely. We ain't gonna judge all that, but I don't know exactly what happened with him. I have his book right here. You see that? I ain't read it. I can't go. He is too invested in putting down gay people and calling us vampires and vipers and all that kind of crazy shit. She calling all the people they're all snakes in the all the pastors are snakes in the pulpit. Everybody's focusing on him. Well, he might have felt that way when he was a child, but he's no longer a child. So if you do have that, are you going to just stay with the sickness for the rest of your life? You're supposed to be some kind of spiritual person. You're supposed to be a pastor. You're supposed to be a spiritual leader, and you're going to walk around with that shit on you for all your whole lifetime? I would think that you would put some time in getting it together, because people do get it together, honey. People come through things. We've all had life challenges, hard stuff. How many girls have been touched? He ain't no better than them. It ain't different with a man. It's just you've been violated. You were introduced to sex before you knew what it was, right? I think if McClurkin would have been allowed to just progress naturally, he probably would not be having the issues he's having now. Maybe those demons took root in his mind when he was a child, and they've just stayed with him, and he's never been able to expel them. All the casting out demons he says he's done, he's not even being able to get the demon out of himself. When I was molested, the guy who molested us, I had 3 people hung around with regularly, right? We were all 10 or 11 years old, and he molested all 3 of us. And like I said, I already knew I was gay before. I was more curious than I think my friends were, although I was trying to hide my curiosity. But all 3 of those other guys, well, I know for sure he molested all 3 of us together. So that'd be me and 2 other guys. Both of those guys are heterosexual. They have several children. As far as I know, they didn't struggle with their sexuality. They just had an experience, and now they are still who they were when I met them. They were starting to talk like pussy hounds even then at 10, 11 years old. And in their adult life, I don't know how many marriages they've had, but I know both of them have got children. And I believe that the other person who we hung out with was molested separate from us. He wasn't there that night, but I'm pretty sure he was molested separate. There was some evidence. I don't know why we knew that he had been there by himself. But they're all heterosexuals. I never heard a word to the contrary. If you talk to the ignorant people, stupid people, they'll say, "Who turned you out? Who turned you out? Oh, you got touched in the jail." If I was in jail or prison, wouldn't I have been a grown man? Would I have been so fragile in my mind that I would be influenced by somebody touching me? Please. Rape and molestation doesn't change your inherent attraction, orientation, only how you relate to or act upon it. Right. When they interview prostitutes, many times they'll find that there was molestation in their background. Right. So they were taught way before it was time to be taught about sex, before they understood it. And they made an association with receiving something for sexual favors, from what I understand. At any rate, when they interview the ladies, many times they are victims of molestation. Some people stay repulsed for the rest of their life. Some of them become homophobes. That's where, I mean, they don't talk about it much, but you can become homophobic because what one person has done to you in your past as well, right? If you're a white person and a black person has been convicted of raping your sister, well, that probably will, you'll probably always hate associated with black people, and you'll hate all black people, right? Based on an incident. That ain't where it all comes from, obviously. So, but what I'm saying is, you can form phobias based on single acts as well, and you can hate what's in your own self. If you, at 13 years old, found yourself liking your best buddy too much, and maybe one time your hand went up, tipped over and touched his leg or some shit like that, right? You might fight against homosexuality the rest of your life. You may hate it. You may fear what's in yourself, right? I have other stories associated with that too, but I'm not going to share them. I try to not to share the same damn stories over and over and over again, but there are constantly new people coming in, so yeah. But if you have ever had that thought, you might be resisting that for the rest of your life because you're suspicious, and you think now I changed myself. Like Butter said, I changed myself. I made a decision. I will not be gay. You shall be straight. That could be based on an experience. Something you did with your best friend 40 years ago. You've always hated it ever since. When they interview some of these guys, these gay boys, and they're grown men, and the ones who were the bullies in school, the ones who seemed preoccupied with other people's sexuality, who picked on people who appeared to be gay, who were the bullies, a huge percentage of those people were actually homosexuals themselves. That's factual. They were repulsed. They were resisting what was in themselves or what they didn't want to be. See, the didn't want to be part shouldn't even be in existence, right? Well, we think we're going to teach it away, pray away the gay. So you teach people to hate themselves or what's in themselves. So they struggle with that for years and years and years. But I was amazed that a lot of bullies, people who are preoccupied with homosexuality, they hate it. They hate what they fear is inside of themselves. And it might have been innocent. Maybe it was just some little growing thing you went through. You just liked your friend a lot. You didn't understand what that meant. And now you hate him. You throw rocks at him. Right. There are also gay men who were molested by women. I think that's what Larry Reed's story is. I know it was, who else was that? Richard Pryor. And right, if anything, molestation by a man can make a straight man homophobic. Yeah, I could see that happening. They would be homophobic. But if they're a reasonable person, they can see that this is not, I don't have to hate all of them. I just hate him. I don't like his ass. Right. And I feel guilty because I didn't call the police and I didn't tell anybody. And I wish I had told somebody. And I wish I would have had his ass arrested. They would lessen the guilt on yourself because you'd be thinking in your mind that I must have liked it. No, I say. Ooh, Art. Nappy child. We talking about R. Kelly. R. Kelly was molested by a woman. Well, why was he hanging around schoolyards then molesting little girls? How did that figure into it? If he was molested by an older woman, shouldn't he be wanting some older titties? That boy, he's a child molester that got a lot of money, right? That's it. That's what his attraction. They say he went back to the same place where he used to go to high school. He would hang around in McDonald's or Burger King there to talk to little girls. That was his attraction. He just fucked up. He had unnatural desires. You clunk everything on clunk game with that though. Gay ain't got nothing to do with no them pedophilia. That's a totally different thing, honey. Most gay men I know want a man. They want a man with big. I want muscles all over his body. I don't care if he's young or old, just make him beautiful. I just need something I can hold on to. Did Michael Jackson really write that song for Diana Ross? How in the hell did he get by with that one, honey? No one responds to past trauma the same way. Well, but I think you need to, I mean, in these day and times, honey, you need to be working it out, though. They are trained professionals to help you deal with these traumas. Usually, if you can expel the trauma, if you can get it out of yourself, you can admit it out loud, then you can move on with your life. And realizing that you not saying that you are a victim, but you were victimized in that situation. Right? And here's what I need to come to understand. I think talk therapy can be very beneficial. I got therapy as an older man. I didn't have all those kind of traumas in my past. So for me, therapy was simply going in there and talking about what's going on now. And mostly at that time, it was about dope and getting off dope and stuff like that, right? But some people go into a therapy session and immediately that's what's coming out because that's what's still locked up in there. That is a demon that needs to be expelled. And we don't know to the extent someone said, like I said, that someone has been molested. They might have been seriously molested, penetrated as children, and they might have just had someone look at their breasts or something, you know. We don't know to what extent it is and what effect it had on that particular person. I think it causes a crisis in trust, for one thing. Because if a grown man has abused you or used you, or somebody you trusted, who you thought you loved, has done something like that to you, that might then create problems from you in dealing with men in your adult life. I'm speaking about women specifically here, but in your adult life, you might not trust them. You might not trust them. I have long suspected that my attraction to white men could have, because I was always attracted to white men, starting it from the very beginning, but it could have been triggered by the relationship between my mother and her husband, my stepfather, because he was a violent monster. Maybe that's where monster came from, because he was that kind of a monster. Perhaps that actually affected the way I saw a certain kind of man in my adult life. I'm not saying that that is what happened. I'm saying there's a possibility that that affected my attractive, or what I consider to be attractive and safe from that point on. You see what I'm saying? So we don't know. That's why you got to treat children with respect. Their minds are delicate. You don't want to cause problems with them that are going to lead them into drugs at 16 years old. Some conversation is difficult to have on YouTube because of the nasty attitudes that are on here. Like the statement that I just made, some people, they will take that then, and this is their content now, right? So it's difficult to have serious conversations about anything serious on YouTube. It ain't the right place. I'm coming to discover that. Now, there are channels where you go and you're talking to therapists and people are talking about, you know, real issues. I don't know the beef sector is that place. People are far too immature. They're far too desperate for clicks and views. And a lot of people are just nasty and evil. So don't be telling all your business on here, ladies and gentlemen. Don't tell them to give them shit to work with. You enjoying this conversation? Thank you, Janelle. I'm making this, but I'm learning. Thanks, Donnie, for your sacrifice, Donnie. Donnie for his sacrifices. Lord. Y'all have heard about what happened to those organizations. I don't know if it's the same one that he was involved in, but those ex-gay organizations, all that. Then during the gay marriage struggles, they all came out and they dissolved their groups and things. And then there are several instances where the leadership had actually fallen in love with a same-sex person and went on and got married, right? After preaching his rhetoric, for years and years. People have their path, honey. We're not all going to be well at the same time. Some people are going to struggle. Some people have no struggle at all. Some people don't give a damn. They've been gay all their life. They don't care. There's never been a big thing with them. And some people it's been devastated for them because of the way their parents or people around them have treated them. I think that those situations are a lot less toxic than they were a few years ago. But rest assured, they're still toxic. Those environments where you encourage people to hate themselves. That's all you accomplish, right? And then they say when they had those ex-gay organizations and stuff, a lot of those members, those are people who had taken their gay experience and abused it. They had been into all kind of wild, weird sex stuff, and they had just taken it to a ugly place, which had nothing to do with their basic attraction towards the same sex. It had to do with what they did with it. If you're getting people putting their arms and shit all up in your asshole and ripping it out, and you got cancer in the asshole and all this kind of stuff, and you go to sex party after sex party, and you are a sex addict and all this kind of stuff, you might feel like this is something you need to be delivered from altogether. My feeling is that even when you took all of the bad behavior away, you're still homosexual, right? So we can't mix it all together, baby. We can't throw out the bath water with the baby with the bath water. Yeah, you can be born blind. Lovely one. It is what it is, honey. It's nature. Just accept it. Why? I don't understand why people are so interested in other people's sex life and stuff. The church with all that shit. They go in there, girl, and all they come out with was sex. Everything I do is sex. Sex. Ah, damn. Is that the principle? What is the gospel? Has the gospel got anything to do with sex? I mean, seriously, people. You go in them damn places and you would think that the primary thing of the Bible was sex. Because that's all they talk about. All kind of sex. But has that got anything to do with the gospel? You say you're a Christian. Well, say you're an Israelite then, honey. And going back to the Old Testament and just wallow in that for the rest of your life. But the gospel, is that about sex? I ask you if you can go and find one line in one paragraph in the course of five books. I'm asking you, is the gospel, is it about Christ or is it about your sex life? My point is, okay, L, I avoided you guys' little argument there. I don't want to get involved in it. Yeah, okay. L says, my point is to be kind to others because you never know what they've been through or what they're dealing with. I'm not saying you shouldn't encourage them to seek therapy or work through trauma. Right, that's all we're saying. That's all I'm saying. Listen, honey, this is San Francisco. We are the land of the nuts. So you will go and you will see people out there hollering and screaming at the guy. You think, who are they screaming at? And the real San Franciscans, they don't even look back. I mean, somebody's hollering and screaming at a damn telephone pole next to you, and you don't even look over there because it's so common, right? But we don't know what caused those people to be that way. I mean, we can guess that drugs are involved, but that's not just from smoking a joint. Honey, we don't know what those people have been through. They might have been through something worse than Sybil, right? People walking around with no shoes on, yelling, screaming, hollering. They got schizophrenia. They got all these other things in their mind. They're so much stuff. We have no idea what those people have come through. And many times when you see young people out here and it just breaks your heart, you can't even look at it. And you wonder, are these streets, maybe these streets are a step up from where they came from. What were they running from to end up here? We don't know what their houses were like, their households were like. We don't know what kind of monsters they got at home, honey, to make them leave so early. And how many of them were thrown out of their house? The parents pack their shit and throw it outside the front door. You're on your own. And how many of these people who have maxed out in what do you call it? Foster care. They get to be 18 years old and now they're on the street. They got no parents, they got no family, they're just out there. No education, nothing. So you're right in that, El. We don't know. But sometimes it's just so much of it. Sometimes I like to pray about people as I pass them on the street, whatever. Sometimes it's so much that you almost like you're speaking in tongues because it's every single space. Everybody needs prayer, honey. Several of thousands of case studies, and they still ain't got no definitive answer. You tell somebody what somebody's born with. How you know? Because you read some books. They don't even know. They don't have a definitive answer, honey. They have theories. This is what I believe happened. What continues to happen. People, be honest. You know good and damn well that at a very early age, you are starting to look at certain children. Right? That was my experience. I would hear the little whispers. Being a kid. Before you even know yourself. I ain't going to tell you my little James Brown song again. I'll make a story again. I know I've told it too many times. Ooh, cut herself. Ooh, that scares me. Behind the throne. I have a relative who cut herself for years. She now lives happily as a male. Oh, okay. Oh, that was what she was. Okay, that was her struggle. Yeah, people who cut themselves. That is the line for me. I dated this guy once, and he first of all, he had a scar across his neck. I didn't know how to broach the subject of a scar across your neck. I didn't know if he had been assaulted at some point. I didn't know if somebody had hurt him. I didn't know anything, right? And then one time I was with him, he was bipolar. I just was dating. It wasn't a boyfriend or anything like that. And he was in some kind of manic state. And he picked up a piece of glass off the street and started cutting his arm right in front of me. Well, obviously that was over then before he even got started. I later found out, though, when I actually paid attention, he had scars all up and down his arms. Mental illness, grave mental illness. That was my last one, even attempting to try to talk to some guy. Under 21 house. Ooh. L Love says, it's Lovely One says, yep, once you age out of a group home, they only give you $75 and send you to an under 21 house where you have to fight for a bed. And I imagine at 21, then you're out of there, right? Same thing it does to you in prison. You get out of prison in California, they give you $200. After that, you're on your own. So you got to use that $200 to somehow get yourself a job, a place to live. You got to. That's it. And for my situation, the reason why I ended up in California, in San Francisco, is because when they gave me the money, I was in pen up here. I was supposed to go back to LA, right? And they only gave me $100. They said, well, no, you'll get your other 100 when you get back to LA from your parole officer, right? Well, honey, I wasn't going to spend my only $100 to go buy a bus ticket to go all the way back to LA. I wasn't about to do that. I was a drug addict, even though I had been away from it for over a year. So I came to San Francisco, and I've been here ever since. almost 30 years. It took a long time till I can get my parole transferred up here too. It was hard because I never reported. You report, they'll put you back to where you came from, honey. You are LA's problem, not ours. Run the other way, Tim. Run the other way. My childhood friend, I used to get a string and steering when they come to my Uncle Joe. They play with your G.I. Joe and got a steering. He's so little though. What you gonna do with G.I.? I imagine his little stuff would be just G.I. Joe. I don't remember playing with dolls. I remember liking my sister's Easy Bake Ovens, though. I wasn't supposed to like that. But I don't remember playing with a lot of dolls. Easy Bake Oven had a light bulb you cook with. All right, you guys. Listen, have a great day. It's Wednesday. Look how beautiful it is out here. Oh, it's a gorgeous day in San Francisco. I don't know why it is because you can't see the sun, right? But it is gorgeous out there. I ain't going out there in it. Maybe I'll take the dog for an extra walk. That's about it. Thanks for coming in, guys. Stay safe. We're almost there. Later.